time, which is just over a half an hour before the closing bell on Wall Street. So an historic day, Maria, where we see the stock market really showing the fears that are out there, not just here, but globally.
And the collapse in oil will lead to defaults, will lead to bankruptcies. I mean, that will happen, partly because many of those smaller and mid-cap oil companies are very leveraged. They're talking about huge debt loads that they have to pay back their interest on that. And if you've got the price of oil half of what you expected, well, then you will default and you will have a problem and you may very well see bankruptcy. That's what this is about, because we all know that the economy is going to slow pretty substantially going into the rest of the year because of coronavirus. We didn't know the added pressure of oil. Remember during the financial crisis when there were reports, Sandra, that China was talking to Russia about, well, look, the U.S. is in the middle of a financial crisis. Let's pile on right now. Frankly, I think there's a little of that going on. Russia, let's pile on the U.S. right now while they've got this coronavirus process going on and the problem going on. Russia says, no, I'm not going to agree to any production cuts from OPEC. I'd rather see the oil price plunge and pile on the U.S. Don't underestimate that. There's a little foreign policy fights going on right here.
It's amazing the different voices that are weighing in on this market sell-off, including Elon Musk of Tesla, with a different take on the market reaction or market panic, however you look at it. He tweeted out, "The coronavirus panic is dumb." Okay, that is a major voice on Wall Street. That's a major voice in business. The president was asked about the Dow during his CDC visit. This was back on Friday, obviously before the sell-off this morning. And here's what he's saying about it.
I've heard all about this could be, this could be a big deal from before it happened. Who would have thought, look, how long ago is it? 6, 7, 8 weeks ago? Who would have thought we'd even be having this subject? We were going to hit 30,000 on the Dow like it was clockwork, right? It was all going, it was right up, and then all of a sudden this came out.
That's the president's take, and we know he does watch this closely.
Well, absolutely. Look, I would only add to saying we've got major institutions responding. The New York Federal Reserve this morning added liquidity to the market, expanding their operations up to $150 billion. It's up from $100 billion. When you see the Federal Reserve of New York adding stimulus, adding to their operations so that the borrowing from banks can go faster and easier, then you see that this is a serious situation. The Fed is getting involved. What's happening on Wall Street today? A lot of people are talking about a fiscal response. Will Congress come out with some help for the airlines, for the cruise ship operators? When I spoke with Kevin McCarthy, GOP leader, yesterday, he said, we don't want to do a major bailout type situation, a major fiscal response, but we may want to do something surgical, he said. His words, not mine. In other words, are they going to be giving some kind of money or stimulus or something to some of these hard-hurt industries like the airline industry? We're waiting on that, but I think that is one thing that could stop this. Australia overnight, by the way, came out with a stimulus is 0.5% of the entire GDP of Australia. So if we see a coordinated effort on the part of governments across the world in terms of a fiscal stimulus, that obviously turns this thing around as well.
You've got schools closing. You've got big sporting events, some of which have decided to cancel events altogether. You've got convention centers, the McCormick Place Convention Center in Chicago, canceling multiple events. This is Ty Peabody, mayor of Indian Wells, on the economic impact of canceling a big tennis tournament, which has happened, that is happening there. Let's listen.
It's bad for the employees of the restaurants and the hotels. I mean, they're not going to get the money they normally get. And in the winter, 80% of their income comes from probably November till May. And for the restaurants and all of these people, they're all going to lose probably 30% of their business during the busiest part of the year. It's a tragedy. It's unfortunate.
I mean, you have to ask yourself how many people, how many neighbors, how many friends, how many other parents, how many work colleagues that you've spoken with in the past several days, past couple of weeks, who have canceled events, said they're not going to go to that movie, they're not going to go to that restaurant, they're just going to play it safe.
I've had 3 conferences cancel on me. I was supposed to go to one in Washington, one in New York, and another one in LA. They're moving these conferences, pushing them back because people do not want to travel right now. South by Southwest, that brought in millions for the city of Dallas. That's done right now. Again, it is about expectations and clarity. Once the market has better expectations of how bad this coronavirus gets, they'll be able to adjust in terms of what to expect on earnings. We haven't started the testing well enough, and that's why we don't really know. I've been saying on the air, tens of thousands leading to hundreds of thousands of cases are coming. And and people are saying, why are you saying that?
That
well,
made a lot of headlines, Maria.
I'm trying to put reality out there. This is what the people that I'm speaking to who understand and know what's coming are telling me. So I want people to understand, yeah, we're going to see more cases. That doesn't mean it's a death sentence. Most people are just going to get flu symptoms. If you're elderly, if you have pre-existing conditions, it could be very, very severe. But we need to understand what's coming so that we're not surprised.
We've got Alex Azar, the HHS secretary, coming on with us next hour, hopefully provide some more clarity over where the administration is going next with all of this. Because remember, 2 members of Congress, also Ted Cruz, Paul Gosar, they are isolating themselves, self-quarantining because of their contact potentially with the virus. So a lot happening this morning. We are watching that action on Wall Street, lack thereof, I should say. A trading halt is in place due to a sell-off of more than 7% in the S&P 500. So trading halted for now. Maria Bartiromo, thank you for joining us. We've got Charles Payne, we've got Alex Azar, we've got Stuart Varney all coming up. Stay with us. We'll be right back.